That wasn't supposed to happen. We'll deal with that later. Okay. All right. Thank you all for being here. Sorry about that. Thank you. I wanted to live stream and record to make sure I got this. My name is Marcus Ruiz Evans. I started the Cal Exit movement. I wrote this book in 2012. It was covered by the columnist Tom Elias. He's the guy that started the recall election that got Governor Schwarzenegger in office. And then he wrote an article about my book in LA Daily in 2013 and said, you know, this is the first serious treatise about how California could be independent. Other people had joked about it, you know, said some things, but I was the first person to actually look in and say, we can do this. And here's how we can do it. I want to spend today's talk, though, talking about something that's more relevant to all of you. In the last 6 months, I have been, ever since Marjorie Taylor Greene said we need a national divorce. How many of you remember Marjorie Taylor Greene saying we need a national divorce? Okay. The green tie, not an accident. They hate this in California, by the way, when I do that. So they hate her in California. But I said, you know, when's the last time we had a sitting member of Congress talk about secession? And I've asked many professors that. And I said, well, when's the last time we had a sitting member of the Senate and a sitting member of the House talk about secession? Talked to a lot of historians. Most people say 1850. So that is a historical fact. Fact. Haven't had people in the legislature doing that in about a century and a half. Here's what I want to, now that got me going because I read an article by NPR. Yeah, it's a liberal site. And they interviewed 3 professors, and all 3 professors came from an elite left coast school. And they came up with the conclusion that, you know, it's social media is the problem and those dastardly Republicans. And then NPR goes, oh, good review. We talked to all of academia. They concluded it's your fault. So we're done, moving on. Then I saw a New York Times article. They did the same thing. We talked to these 5 professors and said this. And then I saw something else. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I've actually talked to conservatives. This is my second time being here in Texas. I went to the secession event at Abbeville Institute. Met many of you. It was awesome. And I said, I'm going to do my own interview. I've interviewed 100 professors in the Midwest, in the South, in the East Coast, in the left coast. I'm the only person who's done anything remotely close to that of any publication or any news agency anywhere in America. And the reason is they don't want to talk to you guys. That's why. I mean, if you look at liberal news and they say we interviewed professors, they interview leftist professors. They don't come and talk to you. They don't talk to conservative professors. They don't go to professors in Iowa or Kentucky or Tennessee or Oklahoma or Georgia. I did. And what I found was a different picture. And this is why it's important for TechSit and CalExit. Political division's pretty bad now. Would any of you disagree with that statement? Can I get a raise of hands? Is political division bad? Is it good? Okay, it's bad. We all agree on that. Here's what I found. A lot of the professors will say, yes, it's bad. And then I go, can we fix it? And here's what 90% of them do. I hope. These are the top thinkers in America studying political division, how bad it is, how we get fixed. And the majority of them say, I hope, when I ask them, how do we fix it? 50% of them say it will never get better unless there's what they call a superordinate threat. Russia attacks us, aliens come, and all Americans realize, well, you know, like July 4th, that Independence Day movie, aliens come, they hate all humans. I can't see you as conservative. You can't see me as liberal. We got to fight the aliens. So half of the experts in America who study how to fix political polarization say something short of that, it's never going to get better. Think about that. These are the experts. Short of an alien invasion or a Russian nuclear attack or China launches 200,000 troops in Alaska, never coming back. 90% of them say, hey, I got a different solution, but I hope it works. I don't know, maybe. Things are bad. A lot of them don't have faith it'll get back. And about 50% of them said, I don't care what you do, it's never going to get better. I've interviewed basically everybody who's ever published in the field of political science on political division from 2002 to 2022. And that's what the survey says. I'm the only person who's done that. Nobody's interviewed 100 professors. Nobody's read 200 white papers. Nobody's read the top 20 books. Nobody's talked to all these people and got their opinions. Nobody tried to reach out to conservatives and liberals and find out what they say. I'll give you a little bit more of a depressing outlook. We went over solutions. And this is going to tie to Texas in a minute. Well, let's get rid of social media. Social media causes political polarization, right? Social media only became a factor in 2014. We had polarization in 1990, 1995, 96, 2000, 2010. How was there polarization before social media if it's social media? Secondly, who's the most polarized electorate group in America? Is it the youth or is it the elderly? No, wrong. It is the elderly. Sorry. Every demographic profile out there shows that elderly voters are way more radically polarized than the youth. I'm sorry. So if elderly people don't typically use social media, how's it social media? There's problems with that theory. But you got 30% of professors running on TV, running up to the federal Congress. Social media is the problem. I know it. And they forget these two big caveats. Well, what about the economy? The economy, jobs went overseas. If we could just bring back all those jobs. Well, there was a guy called Donald Trump who tried, and half the country fought him. And they're proud about what they did. So how are we going to get jobs back when you had a president say, I want to bring jobs back for everybody, it's good for everybody, screw you? And how are you going to do that when China's going to make all of our goods for the next 10 to 15 years along with India, according to every economist out there? How are we going to bring that back? We can't compete. Perhaps you've heard of a thing called the Ukraine-Russia war. We can't even make artillery shells. Think about that. Can't even make artillery shells for a small country, a fraction of our size, to compete with a country that has the economy of Italy. We're the number one economy. We can't compete with a country that's 10 times smaller than us economically in manufacturing. That's a fact today. What about primaries? You got radical primaries. That makes all the extreme politicians get in there. Okay, well, there's studies showing primaries aren't the problem either. That you have certain states where they don't have primaries, they still have extremist politicians. Whoops. What about gerrymandering? We've all heard gerrymandering makes us polarized. They redraw the districts. You can't compete fairly. The Senate became polarized at the same degree as the House over the same time period. You can't gerrymander a Senate district. So that kind of disproves that. What about Donald Trump? I'm in California. Donald Trump made polarization happen. America was perfect. We lived in a state of nature. And then one man came and brought the whole thing down on himself. Makes sense, right? Oh, you mean there's multiple levels of federal administration and one man can't work through it since the Constitution is based on a system of checks and balances? What? Everybody forgot that. But when I talk to liberals about, okay, we'll put Trump in prison, right? And everything goes back to normal, right? That's what a lot of them think. I'm from Cali. That's what they think. And they go, well, I used to think that, but you know, it's years later and his base still votes for him. So even if we get rid of him, the base is still there. And then there's this guy called Ron DeSantis. And he's worse than Trump. Because to the liberal mind, Ron DeSantis pursues the same policies as Trump, but he has a better understanding of how to get them passed in government. Therefore, he is worse than Trump. Therefore, Trump is not going anywhere. Okay, well, can't fix that. What about the size of parties? There were some professors out of Harvard, Princeton, who said throughout American history, one party was dominant, one party was the minority party. And what that meant was you had to agree with each other to pass legislation. And we're in this unique period that we've never seen in 200 years where one party wins by 51% and then the next year the other party wins by 51%. Typically, it's like 70-30 since the last 200 years. And I said, well, how are we going to get one party to be dominant again? Everybody's super polarized. That doesn't seem like it's going to work. And then they said, well, demographics. Liberals are going to have more of a population than you conservatives. We will live on the coast. We will have immigrants. All your children will leave you and they will come and live with us. And then we will have 2/3 of the population and we will outvote you on everything and you will just do what we say. A lot of people in California say that, by the way. So I see a lot of you shocked. Yes, liberals actually talk this way. This is the future, the theme. When they look at Texas and you see Democrats who aren't even from here getting so excited about how the Texas election is, that's why they think you're going to flip liberal any minute now, because you have more minorities. Secret, I'm from California and I'm Latin. My family is from Amarillo and they're Latin. They don't share our political opinion at all. It's almost like Latin people are able to think individually. I don't know. It's crazy talk. So, let's get rid of mainstream news. Fox News makes you polarized. CNN makes you polarized. And the way they do this is, the professors described it was, they know if they put an extreme politician saying something extreme, you're going to watch. That's money. Money. Politician knows I go on TV, everyone sees my face, I get donations. That's money. Same thing with social media. So there's this vicious circle where everybody gets richer being more extreme and talking more extreme. And I go, so we're going to stop that by telling politicians, don't do things that help you raise money when the entire political system is based on money. We're going to tell corporations, don't make a profit. Stop doing the thing that made you record-breaking profits. And then you're going to legislate this? You can't legislate a private company to do something different that's unprofitable. So we don't really have any solutions. I just went through everything. Half the professors say social media, demographics, whatever. They aren't even aware of the counter arguments. There's nobody put it together. My book's going to be the first one that's coming out. And here's why that means something to you. Historically, in history, secession movements are more common than any other type of government. You know, you look at the UN, 54 countries, around 93, 210. 3/4 of the countries today were brought by secession. Legal. When the center of a government weakens, the peripheries pull out. That is historical. That goes back to Rome and Egypt. If America cannot come back together, if it cannot establish itself as a strong nation state with a cohesive culture, the periphery will weaken. And what that means is that the center will weaken. And what that means is anybody on the periphery who can make it on their own is going to do so. So what I'm telling you is that Texit is going to happen no matter what. You all could basically just stop doing what you're wanting. It's going to happen. Why? You're never going to get America back. It's not coming back together. I just interviewed all the experts. I walked you through every single argument. And here's why it's worse. Half the professors don't even think we're in a bad time. They don't even think we're politically polarized. Half. So if you can get them to agree there's a problem, then you have to get them to agree on the problem. Social media economics, half of them don't even agree with each other. And then you got to get to the solution, and they don't even agree with each other. And then my favorite part, I'll leave it with this. I interviewed a lot of liberal professors, and what they told me is this: there's no conservatives in social science anywhere. And Fox News underreports the amount of liberals that are in universities. That is from 10 different liberal professors around America who are actually concerned that they may find the solution to political polarization, and none of you will listen because they're so polarized themselves and so biased, and they trash talk you for so long that even if you agree there's a problem, and even if you agree there's what the problem is, and even if you agree on the solution, half the country's not going to listen. And when I asked them, are you willing to go out and meet conservatives and bridge this gap? 2 out of 100 actually did that. I'll leave it there. You tell me if you think America's coming back together.
No.
Any questions?
A question?
As Americans, we're toast.
As a unified country with a cohesive identity that allowed you to do things like fight the Soviet Union in World War II, yes. And it's only going to get worse, and it's not going to get better. And the primary reason is us, the people. I don't want to go talk to somebody who disagrees with me politically. I don't want to go watch their TV station. I love it when my politicians trash your politicians. You all have to admit you did wrong. You all have to walk it back. No one in America wants to do that. I'm on the liberal side. I just listened to you guys. You're on the conservative side. Neither side wants to talk with each other. And they both think you're both evil. I'm the only liberal from California who bothered to come out here. Think about that. I'll leave it there. Oh, one more question.
As far as your Cal exit movement, how's it going?
It's not going very well,
That's
but
bad.
Well, but here's the thing. We never lost any members. So people stopped being part of the organization, but when we talked to them, nobody ever said, I stopped believing. What they said was, I heard Russia was involved in that and Russia made Trump president, so I hate anything to do with Russia. And the liberal media said, you're part of Russia, so I can't be part of you because I don't want to lose my job and all my friends. And I go, but so you think California can't survive economically, fiscally? No, I didn't say that. I can't be seen with you guys. Liberal media destroyed us. If Trump's reelected, 80% of California is going to launch right back into CalExit. So we are a reactive, highly emotional people. I love us, but that's what we are. It went down because it's not popular, and Biden's president, and Newsom's governor, and everything's fine. Trump comes back together. Their worldview is shattered. In an instant, 80% of the population will jump back. We had 2 surveys in 2017, Reuters, Ipsos, Stanford University. The news said 32% of Californians support CalExit. What you never heard in the news was 15 to 17% said, I'm undecided and I'm open to the idea. That means 49.5% of California was open to the idea of secession, and yet somehow the liberal news never printed that. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
It's like they did the study where they said, in the South, the majority of people in the South wanted to see what they left off of that, and the taglines was 49% of the West Coast also said they wanted to see.
Yep, absolutely. So we're not organized, but the sentiment is there. And the moment they feel endangered and like Newsom and Biden isn't going to save them, oh my God, Trump came back. How could this happen? How could America pick Trump? I was there in Sacramento the day that Trump got elected. I am not lying. Look up the Sacramento Capitol Park on Google tonight. That entire lawn was full of people doing this. I'm not joking. I'm not joking at all. The entire lawn was full of people doing that. The streets were full of people doing that. They blocked traffic. There was 100 cops with their hands on their guns because they were terrified. That happened in 3 hours after they found out Trump got elected. What do you think is going to happen next time? He's looking more likely than Biden to win. Count on a bad reaction from California. That's my answer.
Very informative.